The sterile white walls of Memorial Hospital's pediatric wing had seen many species since the Galactic Council opened Earth to the stars. But never had Dr. Sarah Chen witnessed something quite like this. Elena Ward lay motionless in bed 17, her small frame dwarfed by the medical equipment surrounding her. The 12-year-old girl's breathing was steady, assisted by the gentle hum of the ventilator. Her pale skin seemed almost translucent under the fluorescent lights, a stark contrast to the vibrant auburn hair splayed across the pillow. Beside her, curled into an impossibly tight ball on the visitor's chair, was Cub Rital. The young Korathi refused to leave. His species was known throughout the galaxy as apex predators, 8 feet tall when fully grown, covered in obsidian scales that could deflect plasma rounds, with triple rows of teeth designed to tear through reinforced hull plating. The Korathi Empire had conquered 17 star systems before humanity ever looked to the skies. But Rital was only 5 years old by human standards. His scales were still soft, a deep blue-gray that would darken with age. His claws, though sharp, were no bigger than Elena's fingernails. And his golden eyes, which should have held the cold calculation of a born hunter, were red-rimmed and glistening. His small hand, 3-fingered and scaled, gripped Elena's with desperate intensity. "Cub Rital," Dr. Chen said softly, approaching the bedside for the 4th time that hour. "Your parents are here. They've come to take you home." The cub's head snapped toward her, lips pulling back to reveal needle-sharp teeth. A hiss escaped his throat, not aggressive, but terrified. Protective, Dr. Chen held up her hands, backing away slowly. She'd read the reports. She knew what happened when a Korathi felt cornered. Ambassador Risan entered the room with the heavy tread of his species, his massive frame barely fitting through the doorway. His wife, Remora, followed with more grace but no less presence. Both wore the formal armor of Korathi diplomats, silver and black, adorned with the marks of their clan. "Cub." Risan's voice rumbled like distant thunder. In their language, it would have been a command that no young Korathi would dare disobey. Rital didn't move. His grip on Elena's hand tightened. "She saved me," he whispered, switching to English, the language Elena had taught him during their 3 months as neighbors in the diplomatic housing sector. "I cannot leave her. Remora moved closer, her massive form surprisingly gentle as she knelt beside her son. "Small one. The human child is sick. Our presence here changes nothing. Her own kind are caring for her." "No." Rital's voice cracked. "You don't understand. She's sick because of me." The room fell silent except for the steady beep of Elena's heart monitor. Dr. Chen checked the tablet in her hands, reading the notes again. The story had made intergalactic news 3 days ago. A malfunctioning transport platform at the embassy district. Young Rital had been playing near the quantum field generators, strictly forbidden. But what child listens to every rule? The platform had activated with him standing directly in the beam path. The energy surge would have disintegrated him instantly. Elena Ward had been there visiting her mother, who worked as a cultural liaison. She'd seen the cub, seen the platform powering up, and hadn't hesitated. 12 years old, barely 90 pounds. She'd sprinted forward and shoved the young Korathi out of the beam path. The quantum energy had hit her instead. Human bodies weren't designed to withstand that kind of radiation. The doctors had done everything they could. But the damage was catastrophic. Her cells were breaking down at the molecular level. They'd given her days, maybe a week. "It should have been me," Rital said, his voice barely audible. "I was the fool. I broke the rules. She had no reason to save me. My people and yours. We've been enemies." "We were enemies," Risan corrected, but his voice was softer now. "A century ago. Before the council. Before we learned that strength means nothing without honor. The humans taught us that," Remora added, settling fully onto the floor beside her son. "They were weaker than us, in every measurable way. Smaller, slower, fragile, and yet they stood against us. They made us negotiate instead of conquer. They made us see value in peace." Rital looked at his mother, confusion in his young eyes. "Your father and I have lived for 200 cycles," she continued. "We have seen empires rise and fall, We have witnessed countless acts of war, of violence, of survival. She reached out, her massive hand hovering over Elena's still form. But we have never seen courage like this. To give one's life for another species, for a child of former enemies without hesitation, without expectation of reward. This is what humans call humanity, Risan said. It's their greatest weakness and their greatest strength. Dr. Chen felt tears stinging her eyes. She'd been so focused on the medical miracle they were trying to achieve that she'd forgotten the other miracle, the one already complete. A child had looked at another child and hadn't seen an alien, or a predator, or a political complication. Elena had seen someone who needed help, and she'd acted. The machines beeped their steady rhythm. The ventilator hissed. The IV dripped, and Cub Rital held Elena Ward's hand, keeping his vigil, refusing to let her face the darkness alone. The human doctors say there is nothing more they can do, Remora said quietly. But our medical ships arrived this morning. The Empress herself sent her personal physicians. They want to try something, a cellular regeneration technique. It has never been tested on humans. Dr. Chen's head snapped up. Why wasn't I informed? Because it's dangerous, Risan said bluntly. It could save her, or it could kill her instantly. We needed the family's permission. And, Dr. Chen's heart hammered, Elena's mother gave consent an hour ago. Risan's eyes glowed with something that looked almost like pride. She said her daughter would want us to try. She said Elena would risk everything for a chance, just like she risked everything for our son. The Korathi physicians entered then, carrying equipment that looked like nothing Dr. Chen had ever seen. But she stepped aside, watching as they worked with a precision that belied their fearsome appearance. Rital never let go of Elena's hand, not when the machines around her began to glow with alien energy, not when her body convulsed once, twice, 3 times. Not when the monitors shrieked warnings and human nurses rushed forward, and not when, finally, impossibly, Elena Ward's eyes fluttered open. She looked at the cub holding her hand, confused and weak, but alive. Re? She whispered. The young Korathi made a sound somewhere between a laugh and a sob. I am here, Elena. I am here. Later, the galaxy would call it a miracle. The news feeds would run it for weeks, human child saved by alien technology. A symbol of the new alliance between species. But in that hospital room, with machines beeping softly and a cub gripping a girl's hand tight, it was something simpler and far more profound. It was proof that humanity's greatest export wasn't technology, or art, or culture. It was the radical idea that everyone, regardless of species, history, or biology, deserved a chance at tomorrow. And sometimes, just sometimes, the universe rewarded that kind of courage.